Mabuhay, Kamustika. Welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. Just a quick update here. This Band-Aid is from my first COVID shot. As I talked about in another video, we finally decided to go ahead and get vaccinated. Many of you, I'm sure, are still struggling with that decision. It's a little bit more difficult if your wife has family in the Philippines and maybe she hasn't been there for a while, and you might want to go there yourself. You may have every reason to go yourself if you have a wife there, Philippine or a fiance in the Philippines that you haven't met for a while, and you're all ready to get your tickets, but the Philippines government was going to say, may say that you need to be vaccinated. So that's just the anticipation for me. Right now you can't go anyway, by and large. So as long as they're thinking about opening it up for tourists that are vaccinated, then well, I guess just to stay ahead of the curve here, I thought I would let my wife get the vaccine. Not that I am controlling her, it's just that I wanted to hold out as long as I could. I'm not utterly convinced this is a safe thing for one reason. We don't have any long-term studies or facts. We just don't know. We don't have that information. We just don't know. And the younger you are, like my wife, the longer you may have to live with some complications if you experience them. On the other hand, me being older than my wife, if either one of us were to have trouble, it would probably be me. Now, I want her to be able to go to the Philippines. Philippines might say, well, you know, we're maybe never going to let people in that have not been vaccinated. I mean, or maybe not for 2 or 3 years. I just don't know. So what I've decided is, hun, let's get the vaccine. We got the Pfizer one. Again, I didn't want, I'm not crazy about the mRNA part of that. These aren't really true vaccines as we know them. It's just a very unsettling and unusual situation. So I'd like to know if any of you are closer to making a decision to get the vaccine. You know, maybe you've decided that it's just Philippines isn't in the cards for you. You don't want to be told to take a vaccine that you feel could be really damaging potentially. Now, most people are fine. I think I read today in America there have been about 10,000 cases of people getting the virus after they got vaccinated, which shouldn't happen, and 160 or so, 170 or so deaths in America after taking the vaccine. But millions of people have probably been treated, and so the odds are we're going to be okay. If they open up the Philippines to travel, if you're vaccinated, then we'll have the card that will say the 2 times we were vaccinated. You got to make sure you don't lose that, and we'll have that with us, and that should help make the whole thing go better. It's just, you know, I don't mind, you know, taking certain meds because you can research the meds. Maybe they've been out there for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And your doctor knows what the safety profile is. They have all kinds of data and ongoing data. But we just can't do that with these vaccines. I'm not a big truster in the government. Just too much going on with this thing, you know, election year that got pushed out so quickly. And I'm sure there were some corners cut big time when you're talking about trying to be the first one to market and the lucrative nature of it all. So we just decided, you know, if it wasn't for the Philippines, I just wouldn't get it, and I would strongly advise my wife not to get it. But we did, and we'll both go back probably in 3 weeks, which is what we have to wait. Now we are going on a little trip here for the next few days before Memorial Day, so I guess if one of us isn't feeling well, the other person can drive. I just hope nothing happens. Nothing is going to happen like immediately, but maybe tomorrow, maybe something will happen. I've just been told it might feel some soreness the first day, the first shot rather, and then maybe if you're going to fall ill, that could be after the next one. So anyway, let me know where you are with this. If you are waiting for herd immunity, if you don't trust that that time will ever be acknowledged, if you're worried about having to take the vaccine to keep your job, to travel to the Philippines or somewhere else, just leave me a comment. I'm telling you my thoughts on this. I held out. Yes, we could hold out longer, but with the possibility of going to the Philippines, I think that kind of pushed this decision up for me. I do think there could be some good news coming. And I'm sure you'll all be monitoring your favorite Philippine channels for news on tourism again. Tourism is down 85%. They would do well to let people come in. What we don't know is if there will be a quarantine still mandated, even if you are vaccinated, to go to the Philippines. I would certainly hope not. Then again, in my mind, if people are still getting it and if the testing procedures are not all that trustworthy, you could show up at the airport, they could swab you and say, oh, sir or ma'am, did you know you have COVID? And, well, here's our protocol. You're going to have to stay in this hotel for 7 days. And, of course, you haven't paid for that and could lead to other problems. But I am partially vaccinated now, as is my wife. And in 3 weeks, we will get the second one and be all done with that. So back to business here. Just want to give you an update on the vaccine. Let me know if you plan on getting it, if you're staunchly opposed to it. This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea.